right, y'all. Welcome to the Anthony Sain Show. This, of course, is Anthony Sain with my guy Kenny Stubblefield, man. Kenny, we grew up in the '80s, man. We were '80s babies, late
babies.
'70s, '80s babies. Both of us are, and we would watch shows like Different Strokes or whatever, right? Or The Facts of Life or whatever, right? And these shows that have a special edition of the show, right? Right, where something happened, and then you have to have like this serious conversation about whatever. We decided to come together and do one of those today for something that kind of a situation that kind of kind of intertwines and supersedes a lot of things, right? Where it's kind of like a thing where sports coverage, race, all these type of things have all came into one. And and it's the Penny Hardaway situation, right? Penny Hardaway, of course, was a guest on the Marcus Taylor sports show that comes on 88.5. And Marcus Taylor's going to join us today for a great interview. I'm sure he's going to join us later on in the show. And but I want to have this opportunity for us just to talk about strictly that whole thing and just the difficulty of covering a Penny Hardaway type person in the media. A lot of conversations that came out of that. I'm in a now 48-hour conversation about whether University of Memphis is a mid-major or not and all those type of things.
Speaking of, you still getting that work on Wednesday though. You still getting that work.
Cool.
I'm gonna keep it chill now, but you're getting that work tomorrow.
We can that conversation, but like I said, I want to make this particular edition a standalone from outside of the show, so we can talk about this particular thing. Plus, the NBA draft is coming up, and we didn't want to make our show a super long show. I want our show to be strictly focused on the NBA draft tomorrow, but didn't want to miss this Penny Hardaway conversation. So we're gonna make this his own show, a little supplemental joint for you guys. You guys
a little special episode for the fans.
A special episode of the Anthony Sain Show, man. This is gonna have a long dramatic silence and pause at the end, like the old shows back in the '80s, man, with no sound. The special edition episode, right? But yeah, hopefully nobody will be. I don't want to make this joke because people might not get the reference. But yeah, it was a lot of those shows had some very uncomfortable situations, whether it be drugs or molestation or anything. It was always weird. Like it was always something that you didn't want to see on that particular show, right? So you couldn't connect to that show. But I tell you what, man, I'm gonna get out the way. We're gonna take a break. When we come back, Marcus Taylor, the Marcus Taylor Sports Show on 88.5. We had the very controversial, very good interview between him and Penny Hardaway. He's going to join us next on the Anthony Sain Show. We'll see you guys in a minute. All right, y'all. Welcome back to the Anthony Sain Show. I'm here with my friend, my man, Marcus Taylor, man, of the TaylorMade Sports Show, which you can hear on 88.5 here in Memphis, Tennessee. Marcus, what's going on with you, my brother?
Hey, man, I appreciate you saying having me on, man. I know you are the podcast king, man, so it's a privilege just to be on your show, man.
Man, I appreciate it, man. They call me Champagne Potty. That's what my guy Christian Ingram calls me. Who's
Yes, sir. Stay right there.
Yeah, so yeah, man. So good to have you on, man. You, of course, are the host of the TaylorMade Sports Show. A show where you had a very controversial interview that is blowing up. Everybody's talking about it this morning.
Yeah,
I was up at 7 in the morning and heard people on the radio talking about it. The quote-unquote mainstream radio was talking about it. Talking about your show, man. A little old show on 88.5 FM from a cat from the inner city of Memphis. You know what I mean? So, hey.
Memphis finest.
It must be a good feeling to be talked about, man. Yeah, for sure. I watched the interview Friday morning. I didn't know anything about it. I didn't even know your show existed, just to be honest with you. I heard about your show Friday morning. Somebody shot me the link. I said, okay, let me watch this. You know what I mean? Because, I have a relationship with 88.5. They do.
Yes, sir. They told me.
Yeah, they do a show with me. So I listened to it. I'm watching. I'm like, man, this dude here real. Like this dude, like this is my kind of brother right here. You know what I mean? Just kind of doing his thing, not hiding the fact that you're a fan of the University of Memphis and a fan of Penny Hardaway and a friend of Penny Hardaway. And that's something I definitely was intrigued by. The interview, of course, was controversial because of some of the things that Penny Hardaway said, and also the style and manner of the interview are getting attention as well. That it wasn't done in the traditional journalistic style. You know what I mean? You did not hide the fact that you and Penny Hardaway are friends, and you also said that you'll be throwing them alley-oops. And alley-oops you did throw to Penny Hardaway for sure throughout the interview. So, like I said, I enjoyed it, man. People have had plenty of things to say about it. I enjoyed it. a lot of people were glad to see Penny Hardaway be able to have a place we can come out and just kind of vent, get his emotions off, and share things, in-depth details about his mother's situation that people didn't have any clue about. He also shared some of his frustrations with being the coach of the University of Memphis team, and just kind of went in depth with some of the things he does on the humanitarian side with the city of Memphis. What are your overall thoughts on the interview? How long is this something you've been working on, and what are your thoughts on the responses to the interview so far?
Hey, man, first and foremost, man, thank you so much, man. I can't do nothing but thank God. I love it when people say they hadn't heard about the show. That means there's a whole lot of work I need to be doing.
Yeah.
And if a guy like you figured me out, hopefully somebody else will find it as well.
Yeah.
We've been in the grind for a minute. Of course, the TaylorMade show is I call it the antidote to adolescent athletics. So I really gear toward my interscholastic athletes, my high schoolers, middle schoolers, elementary, and just give them the tools that they need to move forward from the coach, the parent, as well as the student athlete. And I have different people on the show. So I bring that all to say, been knowing Penny for years, and I always talk about safe space. So for me, and I have to keep it real, as I was looking at a statistic, and there are young men, the number has increased maybe 60% of the young men who are between the age of 10 and 19 who are committing suicide. Well, what's going on is that they don't have a safe space. They don't have a spot to talk. And so I talk about that. This happened to be Men's Month. And so, man, I called Penny, and he's been on the show before. And normally comes on the show, we kind of had that kind of dialogue with each other. And he came on this time. And this is amid all the other stuff that's been going on. The business with Joe, the business with the NCAA, always in the business. And to be honest, if you notice it, and I'm not a vet, I just thank God for the opportunity to just watch guys like yourself and, Doc Holliday being my mentor in a sense when it comes to TV, radio, and media. I always try to make sure that the person that's on the show with me, I want to make sure that they don't look bad. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
I don't want to do it in a bad light. So as you notice, we just didn't talk about basketball. We talked about life. And that's what I want people to get. And I know you and I had a private conversation that I'm about to make public. It's not anything we were hiding, but that was our introduction to each other.
Yeah.
And so you heard it. He talked about his mom. If you notice in the very beginning, man, I just felt some type of way. If you notice, I was on my phone. Somebody was texting me because they were hearing the show. And I always have to say, I mean, you do yours a little bit different. When I get to be a big boy, they not gonna text me while my show going on. But I was sitting, so I got a text while the show was going on, Sain, and I heard them say, "Found my mama on the floor, mouth twisted." But I went back to coach the game. I said, no, something wrong with it. I said, repeat that. And that, if you notice, my conversation was more like, hey, are y'all listening to what this man had to deal with? Now, that's the human part. As he talked about dealing with his father, who he hadn't seen, and a large fatherless community that we serve even in Memphis. He says, I hadn't seen my daddy but maybe 3 times. And if he walked in the door, I'ma hug him. I said, what?
Yeah, that was real.
Look how many young men and young women got healed. I ain't see my mama from 5 years old all the way till I was a sophomore in high school.
Right. And nobody's sharing that quote. That quote is like the quotes of the school will fall down without me. That's everywhere. But the quotes of, hey, if I saw my biological father right now today, it'll be all good. That's nowhere. I haven't seen it repeated anywhere.
So that's why it's important for us to have that conversation, because we create the true narrative. I love the fact that the video is ours, right? That's my video. Yeah. You can chop it how you want to, but you've been gracious enough to put the full video out for people to look at it. And I will tell you unequivocally, I have been getting more texts and more conversation on the fact of, man, I really respect him more when I heard the video. And that's what we want to get out. I want people to know that he's human. But here's the greatest thing. Like I know, Sain, man, we have to create a safe space for our people. Penny let me say this, Penny loves hard, right? That's where that statement came from. It came from a place of they gonna lose without me because ain't nobody gonna love them like that. You know how I think we had the conversation of children. Ain't nobody gonna raise man like I raise man.
No.
Ain't nobody gonna love man like I love man. Who can better sell Memphis to a child, to a young man and a family better than Anthony Hardaway?
Yeah.
A city that is riddled with crime at the highest rate. They don't talk about us like in basketball in that manner anymore. They talk about what's going on in the community. Think about this, and I know you know this, but I'm saying to the viewers, people don't realize that four new players came in a couple of years ago, and their cars were broken into when they got here. Like, what is that kind of phone call? And he kept it and like, hey, we good. We're going to make it work. Take it off social media. Don't do nothing like that. We're going to make it work. And those guys played big games for us. You understand what I mean?
Yeah.
Here's one I know you're going to enjoy. Imagine I remember being down on Beale Street in front of Wet Willie's after Arkansas won the NCAA championship. Now I'm going to call some names. Randy Carter, graduate of Central, who went to Minnesota. Marcus Thomas, his homeboy, point guard, that played. Anthony Hardaway, Rodney Newsom, Corey Beck, Dwight Stewart, Elmer Martin, Clint Richardson, all the guys, right? We stand in front of Wet Willis. Could you imagine a young player coming in, seeing all those guys kicking it with each other on Beale Street? Remember, Beale Street was a big sale. Going to Studio G up on the corner with 380 bill, 360 bill. Just go up there and kick it. But what am I selling now? Now, instead of grandmama saying, bring me some of that barbecue when you get back, baby, she's saying, Lord, dispatch the angels over my baby while he going to Memphis. And so we have to be mindful of that.
Yeah.
And when a man says, man, can't nobody love you like I can, that's a man that's passionate, man. So, you know, I've been getting the comments and, you know, I got one. You go on a show, and I told you when I got on here, I was going to talk about this.
Yeah.
No disrespect. Jason been my guy for a long time. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
Jason's been an awesome guy, a beat guy. I've had Jason in my phone for probably close to 18 years. All right. A lot of my guys that when I was dealing in basketball like that, he recruited my guys. I gave him exclusive stories, stuff like that, right? Great guy. Great guy. I always created a great narrative. But he's on there with a guy by the name of John. John makes a statement like this. John said, I don't care if Penny likes me or not. I just need him to win. Now, that's tough when you just got an interview and heard that his mother was laying on the floor, and yet he came back to coach a game. And I just want to question folks, and especially John, I just want to say, man, what would you do if you were in that same situation? Like, what would that be for you? What would your mental psyche be? To see a woman that you care for, to walk in the house just to check on her, and she's laying on the floor, mouth turned, had a stroke. You're not a doctor. You got 20,000 waiting on you to get back to the arena, but you got your mother, and yet you say, I'm going to take care of this business, and I'm going to take care of everybody. Man, we all can't do this. For that alone, I didn't hear him say anything respectful or give him kudos for taking care of his mom, or even a statement alone, because you got to be mindful. Where's the humanistic part of it? And I'm going to tell you from the guys in the neighborhood, because they didn't gave me the phone calls, because I told them South Memphis finest. I'm a Memphis guy. They like, look, if you don't love them, don't talk about them. You know, it's almost like anything else. Just keep me out your mouth if you ain't got no love for me. I know you got to do what you do. Yeah. But if you ain't got no love for a man who love this city like this, man, that man like Superman, you know, like Gotham, like Batman and Gotham. And I think that's the best scenario. Was it you? You made the Batman scenario. Yeah. And I thought about that. You made the Batman inference. And I was sitting there and I was saying to myself, like, man, that's a great statement, because nobody understands why, when you really look at the movies and all that, why Bruce Wayne is always in the dark and drinking on some brown. He got to get himself together. Man, it's a struggle out here. Yeah. And I think sometimes we make a mistake in not realizing that Anthony Hardaway is still Penny. I mean, Penny is still Anthony Hardaway. The 1 cent guy is still Anthony. Yeah. You know, and when you think about that, man, he's somebody's son, somebody's grandson, somebody's daddy, somebody's uncle, somebody's cousin. That man wear a lot of hats. Yeah. And I'm also a friend enough to say, hey, let's do something a little different. And I think when you're a good friend, that's what you do. And of course, you saw that on the show.
Yeah.
I wasn't gonna let them go too far down the rabbit hole because I knew what the, certain media was going to do and try to create their own narrative. And that's one thing I stand on, man. I don't want anybody to create a narrative, but I want these people out here. You know, my biggest thing saying is, you know, if when you listen to the whole video and you still have that, man, get him out of there. He shouldn't be there. Somebody else should be in there. I think you're a horrible person.
Yeah, ain't no way. I definitely had those type of moments as well, where that video kind of solidified some of the things I thought about. And just to reference the analogy that we made on the phone to make more sense to the listeners, I was saying, and I've said this everywhere I've spoken for the last few days as well. But Penny Hardaway being the coach of the University of Memphis is like Batman taking the job as the chief of police for the Gotham City Police Department. You know what I mean? When you look at it on the surface, who better could be over the crime and all these kind of things for the city of Gotham but Batman, right? But if he took that job, there were certain things as Batman that he could do that he can't really do as the chief of police. But if you're going to make it happen, it's going to take a process, because in the end, you realize that's Batman. That's one thing. You know what I mean? Like he's got to be the one that can fix this, right? And that leads to my next two questions I'm gonna ask you. Of course, I'm here with Marcus Taylor of the TaylorMade Sports Show. My next question is this: it's really not a question, but more so a discussion point. Because when you talk to guys like Jason Smith, myself, Doc Holliday, yourself, men of color who have to cover Penny Hardaway, right? It's kind of hard to cover Penny, and I'm not gonna say I feel. I'm not gonna say I empathize or sympathize with my white brothers who do this.
Oh, you better throw me a lob. Let me in.
It's like when you're covering Penny. It's like I'm gonna ask you this question. Like, how do you criticize somebody who is Penny, who's the greatest basketball player to ever touch a basketball in the city of Memphis, in the 901, right? It's like it has to be extremely difficult to cover him, to the point where I don't cover him. You know what I mean? I don't have any strong opinions about Tiger basketball because I understand how difficult it is to cover him without coming off a certain way.
I can answer that question. You're gonna love this thing. This is a good one. This one we share with our children. This is gonna be good, man. You know, I do the motivational minutes too, so I got to say that.
Yeah.
I can critique because I care.
Mm-hmm.
And when somebody knows you care, then they'll allow you to critique. I can make those statements because they're out of love. Man, you know, I'm a church boy. And one thing that God does, God always allow, even though he got on us, he still cared for us. And so what we have to understand that he is the greatest view of how to be a father. Even Penny talked about the mistakes he made with Jalen and how he had to straighten that BS out. Yeah, man, that was big. So to your point, I can critique P because I care for P. And when a person knows that you care, then you're able to have those intelligent, heartfelt conversations. Like I told you, man, he didn't deny it. Man, I could be on the phone. I could call and say, hey, man, you good? And he say, cool. And from cool, man, we on the phone for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
I'm riding. I done went and dropped off clothes at the laundry, you know, the cleaners. Got in the car, sat down, might have grabbed me some from Starbucks, and we still talking, but it's always a great conversation, and they always give him nuggets, because guess what we realized, Sain? Man, that man got 1 million people talking to him. And I tell you, just like you understand on this show right now, you could have cut me off 5 minutes ago if I was wasting your time.
No, you good.
But time is worth something. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's my point. I'm not going to waste your time. And when we talk, I want to make sure I'm worth it. Because guess what? Time so we can't get back. So for me, again, the way I can critique P is because I care. And I understand the other stuff that he does, just like you. And as a man of color, I don't have to be delicate with you, but I have to say my delivery has to be on point, right?
Yeah.
Because we're quick to say they hating on me.
Yeah.
They hating on me. That's a fact.
Yeah.
They hating on me. And so, man, life will have you so beat up sometimes, saying, until we have to come to the rescue of others. People have done it for others 1 million times. Like you know, like I know. I ain't gonna call no names, but they probably know who I'm talking to. You don't critique other coaches like you critique Penny. And here's my other one. I don't know if you're gonna allude to it, but I'm gonna throw you a lob because I know you smarter than me in this. But I would love. It's gonna sound crazy, but I would love to get with somebody and tell me on the last days of Larry Finch how he felt being the coach of Memphis and how a city who applauded him, black and white, ended up treating him his last days at the University of Memphis. You know, but before he had the stroke, before those things, the physical ailments occurred. Remember, man, this guy had us in a tournament. He had some of the toughest teams in Memphis and a heck of a conference. And because he couldn't get over the hump, you found fault in him, man. And he was Memphis's darling.
Yeah. He was Memphis basketball. Yeah.
Hey, man, and for you to do him like that, I just don't want Penny to go on that same road. Yeah. And I think with enough publicists and podcasters and media guys that are out here, people with a voice that people listen to, I think it's our job to cover and correct people who we deal. Oh, I like that one. I like that one, Sain.
I like that too.
We have to cover and yet correct those who look like us, because, man, ain't nobody else gonna do it.
No,
get another one in there. You know what I mean when I say that. Get another one in there. No, it's not another Anthony Hardaway.
Yeah.
So what do we do to take care of this guy? He is a guy that can make City Hall and the hood come together. Stay right there. Go ahead, Sain. This on you. This ain't even my show, but
we interviewed another host, man. This is what it looks like. I mean, this is what it looks like. Well, Jason Smith gets on me about that all the time because I come on his show and just take over. So
I heard you, man, giving them the business on Friday, man. I heard you.
I get it, man. But
give me the second one, man. Give me the second question.
This is what I want to throw out, kind of piggybacking on what you said. This is a conversation I've had with my producer Kenny Stubblefield and just different people I've talked to.
Shout out Kenny.
Yeah, one of the things that Penny said to start off the conversation is I won't allow you all to normalize me, and that stood out to me big time. And I broke down, in my opinion, what Penny was saying, right? And we literally cannot make Penny Hardaway normal. Like we say all the time, I wish we could just have a normal season, but we just can't, bro. Like we literally cannot, because of the type of individual he is, the type of personality he is, the type of
That's why I listen to you. That's why I kept listening to you.
Right.
For that statement alone, you talking about that, that's why I kept listening to you.
And the thing is, man, if you look at Penny, like I tell people all the time, like I had this conversation with somebody, and I said, does Penny do things that we should be critical about as far as strictly being a college basketball coach? Yes, I've been critical of Penny Hardaway. I've been critical to the point where I'm called coons and you a slave to the white man just for talking about basic criticism.
Wow.
Not and anything I say mainly is tongue in cheek, is joking. Like it's not nothing you take it serious. I'm not calling anybody job or anything. It's just I'm an entertainer first. You know what I mean?
Yes,
so but the thing I'm trying to say is, like, if for the people who say, okay, when you're criticizing Penny, right? If my thing is, nobody in the world is equipped to be what we dream for this University of Memphis basketball program to be more than Penny Hardaway. Now, if Penny Hardaway quits or if Penny Hardaway is fired, right? And they bring in Sam Sausage, who went through the coaching ranks he's dreamed to be a college coach all his life, right? And he came from, across the way state, and now he had a great year across the way state. He would love to come to Memphis, guys, all the NIL dollars. They play in the NBA arena, all these, the urban market, all those things, right? Let's say the Sam comes in, not the downplay. I hope that name make you think I'm minimizing anybody, but let's say some coach comes in, and he's great, right? Let's say some coach comes in, he's great at Memphis, right? He comes after Penny, he's excellent. Like he proves Penny wrong. Like when Penny left, I kept this thing going. And in 2-3 years, he's in the NCAA tournament. They make a run. They're Sweet 16. Guess what's happening to Sam Sausage that very next year? He ain't coming back to Memphis, bro. He's gone.
They recruited him somewhere else.
And that Sweet 16 run has to start all over again with another coach. A guy like Penny Hardaway is from Memphis. He's a celebrity. He knows basketball, but there are things about Penny that he admitted himself. There are bumps along the road that we have to be patient with and help him smooth out. And we have to create an environment where Penny can learn on the job, because Penny is a guy who, if we're patient with him, he's the guy where if he has that Sweet 16 run, he's going to turn back around and make an Elite 8 run, and to make that Elite 8 run a Final Four run, and then Final Four run a national championship. And you're talking about Memphis like you talked about the Gonzagas, like you're talking about the Butlers a few years ago, or whoever, whatever's non-Power 5 school. In order for a school like Memphis to be looked at amongst the elite, or get back to where we were when Calipari was here, you have to have a coach who's going to be here a long time and build on top of wins, gains on top of gains, sustainability on top of sustainability, until you have that type of program. If you let go of Penny, you're not going to have that. You're going to have
years of
like
mediocrity.
A football team where as soon as a coach gets good, he's gone. Yeah, and the reason why Ryan Silverfield's been here that long is because he's just been okay. You know what I mean? But once he gets good, he's going to be gone too. But if people, they say that's what they want, but I don't think people understand what that looks like. And I said all that to say, I just feel like if Memphis is going to be the program it's going to be one day, it takes a guy like Penny Hardaway who can make us be one of those top tier teams, because he has that power. If he's given the time and the longevity, he can take this program to heights we've never seen.
Well, I love that. You actually threw me a lob, man. You must have played a little PG when you were coming up in high school. Look. Yeah, what you said. I can see the cha-ching on the chains on the net. Yes, sir. Let's get it. Here it is. You said something, and I thought it was so profound. It brought back a point. You remember when Penny first got in, and they did what they did NIT, and they came back tournament, and the guys were going to the league. You remember the conversation coming up? We're not going to keep him long if he keep doing it. The NBA going to grab him. Remember, that was a conversation that he could be a guy that goes to the NBA. You got to think about this magic moment coming out on ESPN.
Yeah, all that happened the same summer.
That's right. That's right. So you had a lot of people that started talking. Remember, the noise was, would he go back to Orlando? Everybody forgets that. And it goes to your point. When you winning, man, they come and grab you quick from Memphis. And so you think about a guy like Anthony Hardaway, who going into his 7th year, man, leave that man alone. You know, at the end of the day, John Thompson, one of my favorite coaches, 27 years and won NCAA championship. Now, 20 years of going to the tournament, you know what I mean? 14 straight years of getting into the tournament, which is a record for them at Georgetown. But that ended in like 92 or so. Then you had runs where they didn't get back in. And he still did 7 more years after that, and then sent it on to a son who they gave years of working and doing. So again, I just say those things, man, so that we got to get to the point where we start having patience with people from the city of Memphis, because we have so much patience. I don't know where the rush is coming from. One thing I love that happened a couple of weeks ago was that, Jason Tatum had 7 years of conversation. Jaylen Brown had 8 years of conversation, and they got the gold ball.
Yep.
And they did it together. People were patient with them. Here's another thing. Changing of the coaches and all that good stuff, those guys stuck and stayed. They could have went somewhere else and tried to find some more money. They stuck and stayed. And so we got to do the same thing with Penny. We got to be honest with ourselves, just as you are saying. When you said, who better to do the job? Who better to take care of the business in the city of Memphis? Who better to get that going? And for us to be at our greatest. And I think once we do that, Sain, I think we're gonna be so much better. But man, you make an awesome point. Let's talk about one thing I wanna bring up. He talked about the fact that being normalized. I want to go back to that. And I thought about that thing. And when he said that, man, I knew that was gonna shoot out the meetings, right? I knew when he said the normalized thing. And I am total agreement with you, because it's hard for Superman to be Clark Kent. If you ever recognize how they did on the superheroes, after so long, you didn't see Clark Kent anymore. He was irrelevant. You know what I'm saying? That guy was irrelevant. And I think that's what we are sometimes, that Anthony is irrelevant. Penny is the man. Right. And we always look for Penny to do what he's always done. Last second shot by Anthony Hardaway, Penny, he scores. Orlando, he scores. He scores. Wherever he's been in Phoenix, he scores. In New York, he scores. In Miami, wherever he's been, man, he's always been able to do his thing. So with that being said, I think the love that we have, I'm going to give this to my guy, Warren Triplett. Triplett said, man, he is so loved till he can't make a mistake.
Mm-hmm.
Let that marinate just a little bit.
Yeah.
He is so loved, Sain, till he can't make a mistake. And I think sometimes every man can make a mistake. Going back to what you're saying, man, he human. And the more and more you try to do this, it's the juxtaposition, it's the oxymoronic part of the thing that the same thing you cheer me for is the same thing you get mad at me for. And what is that? Me being me.
Yeah. Well, I have one final question for you. Again, this is
Yes,
Marcus Taylor of the TaylorMade Sports Show. I had one thing about the interview. I'm not going to call it a critique. I'm not going to call it a thing that I didn't like. I'm just going to call it a concern. And my only concern was just being completely transparent with you is a lot of stuff that Penny was talking about. And I'm a curse on this one. I know you're a church man, but I'm a curse on this. I wish Penny didn't give a shit about some of the stuff he gives a shit about. You know what I mean? Like that was my only critique, right? So what do we do? Because the thing is like, okay, yeah, there are some people in the city of Memphis that I feel, even in their fair criticism has some personal agendas too. Because I can talk about nothing but sports and still have an agenda where I'm doing these to personally attack you. You know what I mean? I think that whole narrative is just bad for people who say, well, we're just sticking to sports. And I don't think that really matters. But what I'm saying is there are people who do that, right? But I think there are a lot of people like myself who I said will show up to a Penny Hardaway press conference with a Penny Hardaway shirt on and interview him. Like I think it's more people like me who are legit fans of Penny Hardaway than there are people who are against them. And I say, and with that being, and it is, I think within the community is even bigger number of people. The ratio is probably even bigger as far as people who support him. And my thing was, I wonder, we
talked about the 80-20.
Yeah, we talked about it on the phone. So what my thing is, I just wish Penny didn't care. I just wish he would just move on and not even, give light to these people. So how do people like myself, and especially people like yourself who have direct access to him? Now, if y'all ever want to put me in the group chat on the three-way, hey, brother, just throw me in there. But the point I'm trying to make it, how do people like yourself and myself get like kind of hide the noise from him? Because I can tell you situations where you mentioned Jason Smith, right? Me and Jason Smith are like really good friends. I look at Jason like a brother, mentor, friend, all those things. Right. I can remember a situation where someone was talking shit about somebody big. I'm not gonna say the name because I'm not gonna get light to this person. Was talking big national shit about Jason Smith, right? He said something highly offensive, about Jason. And I knew it made me feel upset. So I knew it would have made him feel upset. And that particular day, we were going to our son. One of his son had a basketball game. My son had one too, but we came to our game early, fellowship with my boy. And our boys watch each other play. Yeah. I knew about the tweet. Jason didn't know nothing about it. And I also didn't talk to him about it. And then when he did, he's like, "Sain, you knew about this?" I said, "Yeah, bro." I said, "Hey, that's nothing. Like, we fellowship. We spending time with our boy. I wasn't finna put that on you in that moment." He said, "Man, I appreciate you. Like, that's real." So how do we as people who have Penny's back, especially brothers like yourself, but just anybody who's in this circle, what responsibilities do I'll say us? What responsibility do we have to take
easy, Sain, easy. Create the true narrative.
Mm-hmm.
Be fair.
Mm-hmm.
And create the right narrative. Like, don't pick a piece of it. Talk about all of it.
Yeah.
And I know we have to get our clicks, and I know we have to get our paper sold. I know we have to get our radio on, and there's no indictment on anybody. I want somebody to watch my show too, but I'm not going to sell my soul to get somebody to like my page, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm just a regular dude in a barbershop. I'm just one of the, members of the church. I'm one of the members of my fraternity, Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated, root to the Q's. You already know I'm gonna do it. But at the end of the day, I'm just a regular guy. So I have to do what my human side says, and that is cover that man, but be able to correct. And I think in your what you do, your platform allows that narrative to get out true.
Mm-hmm.
Are we gonna stop it, Sain? Heck no. They lost. We can't stop Fox. We can't stop ESPN.
Mm-hmm.
We can talk where I talk, but they're a bigger right? They're larger program. They're larger media moguls. You understand what I mean? So they're backed and they're big, but our voice can mean something. Every time we come on, we like, yeah, he did mess up on that.
Mm-hmm.
But look at the adjustment that he made here. Look at the things he did there. Look at what he did there. Let's talk about some positives. And I think that's the thing what we got to do. You know, at the end of the day, people are going to say what they're going to say. I love this. I'm not comparing him to him, but I'm a Bible guy as well. Mm-hmm. Jesus looks to John and said, who do they say I am? Yeah. Right? He said, who they say I am? And he goes and tells them who they say he is, and he goes with that. He kind of like, okay, I kind of get it. I think we ought to be real enough to tell P who he is, but yet let them know that some of those things you're not. Like, they say you this, but you're not that now. We understand and know that you're not that. Because he makes the statement, and here's what we do as Memphis guys. Put your money where your mouth is. Yeah. What does that mean? I'm out here still serving the community, but you're not putting articles out about that, right? Yeah. I'm giving away toys, I'm taking care of families, and I do it in private. But if you're a media guy, you know what dude's doing because you got guys that you talk to that's around. Yeah. So when you know those things are coming, why not come up, take a picture? Well, you know, he's giving away so. He's done those things. I think the charitable side of Anthony Hardaway, even though he keeps it quiet, is the side that gets overshadowed a lot of times with his coaching, with his job. Yeah. And we don't talk about who he is. We talk about what he does. What his job is. What his job is. And so that's what we get caught up. So for you and that, man, our job is to make sure that, man, we protect them in a way. We protect them in a way that he still knows that we watching, but we care. You know what I mean? So you just keep doing what you're doing. Guys like Jason, keep doing what you're doing. And I think we ought to be in our moments when we do what we do. Because remember now, I say this publicly. I told you, if Penny get on another show and have that kind of conversation again, I'd be kind of bothered. Because one thing men do, once we get it out of our mouth, it's gone, right? Yeah. I ain't on it no more. I've said what I had to say. It's like a daddy, it's like sitting down with your family saying, and it's going crazy. You say, look, let me sit down with y'all. Let me tell y'all what's up. And the dad events, and he tells what's going on, and he lets the chips fall where they fall. But he doesn't revisit that again. Why? Because I said what I had to say. I got to get to moving to the next level. And as you know, he took full responsibility for the wins, the losses, all that stuff. Yeah. But he's also saying, look, I see you talking about me, but talk about me. You see that? I see you talking about me, but talk about me. Don't create that narrative like they got out there now. You said they can't do it without him. They normalize them, but nobody's talking about a mother. Hold on, here's a good one, Sain. I just looked on social media and saw Mama got the bell in her hand. Her cancer is in remission. Yeah, I saw that. Mind yourself now. We just had a conversation on Thursday talking about her getting better, and on Monday she rings the bell. At the end of the day, those are the stories that we ought to be talking about. Yeah. John, I need you to be talking about that, John. I need you to talk about the fact, like, look, I might not like this dude too much, but at the end of the day, man, I applaud a man who loves his mother enough and to take care of the manner that he has with all that stuff on him. And he can stop right there. That's all I want, John, for you to act like you're human, man. Just act like you're human, like you care. Because, again, now, you in a predominantly melanated community in Memphis, Tennessee, and we're really sensitive of who says what about us, and I just need you to act like you care just a little bit. You can lie just a little bit and act like you care, man. Just a little bit, John.
I think John cares. John my guy, man. I think John cares. I said, it's hard for us to cover Penny as black men. So white guys, I'm like, they say anything crazy. It's go, you know what I mean? We're gonna be on their head. So yeah, it's hard. It's hard to cover Penny Hardaway, man. But because of who he is, like I said,
yes, sir.
He's not normal. He's not normal at all. So yeah.
But we have to cover him. Yeah, we got to cover him, Sain. I think when it goes to that, it's a plain and simple answer, and I think we overanalyze that thing sometimes for a real deep answer to questions. I'm not talking about you because we saw this a long time ago. Yeah. As men, we mentally understand what it takes, and it takes a village. We got to protect that dude. He's a Memphis guy. Yeah, he's Memphis, man.
It ain't going nowhere unless we tell him to leave.
Memphis. Yeah. He's a Memphis guy, and he's beloved by a lot of people, man. So Sain, that's what we do. We love this guy like we have been, and I have to say this out loud. I have seen more people applaud him now publicly than I've seen in a minute.
Yeah.
Your haters gonna be your haters. But I see more people coming on the screen having a conversation saying, how dare you still have that view on a man who has so much privately he has to do, and publicly we're almost crucifying this man.
Yeah.
And still to be able to keep us, that a safe space, man. I'm gonna keep saying it, safe space for any man, especially a man of color, to be able to come on. So I'm gonna say it like this. And you heard me talking on the video. The TaylorMade Sports Show is always gonna create a safe environment for anybody to come on, because we've got to get our true us. You do it. Yeah. Hell, when they come on here with you, you're gonna let them be themselves. That's what they call it, the new age radio Sain. Is that what y'all call it? New age
Something
media?
Like that.
Yeah. And I think you got to twist of both of them in there, and I believe that's a beautiful thing. I'm just hoping that here's the real thing I can tell you. I'm hoping some young brothers, some young sisters watching us and gonna watch your show from now on and say, I can do that. And I can do it on a higher level. And I don't have to be slain. I can be intelligent and yet be able to correlate with the people in the hood and still get a great point across. Being real is being able to code switch. We learned that when we were children. And I think children don't understand that you can have a little of that in you, but you still got to be able to articulate your words clearly so people can understand and people will listen to you, because they'll miss you because of the slang and how you talk. So, man, I hope that they listen to this show. Two brothers on the show together, have an intelligent conversation about a brother, and we want to see him do well. We're not going to baby, we're not going to cuddle, but we're gonna cover him. You understand what I mean? We're going to make sure he's good, and we're going to make sure can't nobody else. You ain't going to come in Memphis and get him. We got him in Memphis. You're not going to come down here and cut up with him. We got him in Memphis. So, man, I appreciate you big time.
Oh, man, appreciate you, man. Again, this is my man, Marcus Taylor, bro. I appreciate the conversation. It's a super candid, super open conversation between me and you, man. Like, we got to do this again. We got to do a home and home, man. You got to get me on your show, man. To chop it up.
Man, I told you the guys, shout out to John Best, general manager over there at MSCS. 88.5 C19, man. That guy. Hey, shout out to the superintendent. Got to always get it. She got a hard job as well. I'm going to say it out loud. Superintendent Fagan, you welcome to come on TaylorMade show and tell your truth too, and we can talk about sports as well. But at the end of the day, man, I got to give shout out to those guys. I know you come over to 88.5, man. I can't wait to get you on there so we can have candid conversations, because we got to know where you started all this at, man. Your background in the sports and all that, because again, man, my show is the antidote to adolescent athletic, and I'm going to say this out loud. I know everybody's listening. The goal, man, I remember as a child watching scholastic sports, right? I don't see that anymore. And I want to make sure it comes back, because we got to start celebrating our youth and start putting the things out there that are right for our children. When so much wrong is going on, we got to find the right. And I hope being an antidote means that I am a cure to a problem. And we have a problem in our city. And we have a problem in our athletic community. And I want to make sure that our young people, before they become collegians, before they become pros, that they get it in their early years. The Bible said, train a child in the way that they should go, man. They'll never, depart from it. They'll never fall from it. They'll never depart from it. So at the end of the day, I want to make sure that they never depart from what guys like you and myself put in them, so they can be great. Yes, sir. TaylorMade show.
For sure. TaylorMade show, man. 88.5 FM. Go check it out. Go check out the interview with him and Penny Hardaway. It's all over the place. If you ain't seen it, go check it out. All right, y'all. Welcome back to the Anthony Sain show, man. Super good interview with my guy Marcus Taylor, man. Man of many words, my boy Marcus Taylor, man, for sure. I want to come together, regroup of what he was saying, because he touched on a lot of stuff. And I want to get your perspective, man. And I'm not gonna let you speak for white journalists and nothing like that. But I just want to just kind of get.
I don't want to speak for white journalism.
Exactly. We're not speaking for white journalists at all, because we don't care about white journalists.
It don't matter.
No, but seriously, I do want to just talk about some of the stuff he said, because, like I said, I think it was a really good interview. There's just a lot of things I would like to just kind of dive into. And I would like to kind of double down on this. It is extremely hard to cover Penny Hardaway. Like it is hard, difficult to cover Penny because there are things, if you look at him as strictly a college basketball coach, that will frustrate you in the moment, that will frustrate you for several moments, but you have to remember that, like we started out the conversation saying, he's not a normal basketball coach. I think he's worth the investment. I think he's worth being the person who could be the guy that could take us to the next level. Because when you talk about programs like a Gonzaga, right? Gonzaga is Gonzaga because Mark Few has been there forever, and he's coached that team on an extremely high level, right? For all of my adult life, seems like Mark Few's been there. And he may have very well been there for that entire time. But like I said, to get Memphis to be a team that, whether we debate about whether they're a high major or not, or a mid-major, to get them to that solidified high major status, it takes a coach who's going to be here for a while. I don't think that you can – I think if you move on from Penny, that position becomes a revolving door of coaching. You know what I mean? So I think that's the part we don't want to be in. And I think Penny can take this team, this program to heights that no one else has ever taken it to, including the John Calipari. We're talking about Penny Hardaway, man. So like I said, it's so hard to cover him because a lot of times things that are fair criticism can be looked at. Because I've had to deal with this shit, bro. I've had to deal with people coming to me on some bullshit like I'm out here. I'm like, bro, I don't care enough you know what I mean, to be, whatever you're trying to say I am or what I'm doing, right? But I've also had to learn to err in my ways, kind of on some of the stuff that Marcus is talking about, understanding the responsibility of, that's not just to coach the University of Memphis. It's Penny Hardaway, one of the biggest ambassadors for the city of Memphis ever, bro. Like one of the biggest figures to come out of the city of Memphis. So it's definitely difficult. So I want to get some of your thoughts on just what it's like covering Penny and just any questions or just maybe even counters you have to some of the stuff that Marcus was saying.
I think both of us are lifelong Memphians, right? Grew up right outside of Orange Mound. Grew up watching, my idol growing up, Elliot Perry. You had him on the show a few weeks ago, last week. Amazing. I mean, just in awe, kind of watching him. Like, this is how crazy I am about Elliot Perry. I wanted to be on the screen with Elliot Perry during that interview, and I asked you, I said, Anthony, please let me be on the screen.
Can I get a screen
time? I just want a screen time with Elliot Perry. I want to be able to show it to my kids when they're old enough to they're old enough now, but when I'm starting to kind of impart on my son, Memphis basketball, I want to be able to say, hey, look, your dad was on the screen with Elliot Perry, right? Even though I'm sitting there just going like this the whole time. I didn't ask a question. I think I asked one question at the end of the thing, but I just wanted to be on screen, right? Growing up, man, Memphis basketball is just it just takes over you as a fan, right? As a fan. And I think that Penny Hardaway was an ambassador for this city way before he was the head coach of the University of Memphis basketball program. I worked at Hamilton
before he even realized he was an ambassador for the city.
Right. 100%. I grew up. I mean, I worked at Hamilton High School for 6 years. I remember specifically moments when Penny would drive his truck up into the park at Hamilton High School and open up his back trunk, and there would be shoes, pennies everywhere in there, and kids could come out and just grab shoes. This is the kind of stuff he did. He's done so much for this city. Even prior to even all that, he's done so much for this city. And so nobody is discounting, especially if you've grown up here and you know the levels of work that he's done in this city, the charitable things that he's done in this city. Nobody is discounting that. And I think that's the hard part about covering Penny, is that there is a level of as media, we are called to, our job is to critique, and our job is to, in the moment, kind of understand and kind of figure out what is happening and where things are going and where things are headed. People pay attention to that. They want to hear that kind of stuff. I do think that there is a level of I wish that we could cover more of the great things he does behind the scenes. Marcus said this in the interview. A lot of that's private. A lot of us aren't privy to that. We don't understand. We don't know what he's doing now behind the scenes. None of us knew throughout the entire season about his mother's health. Nobody knew about that. And rightfully so. We didn't need to know about that. None of us needed to. That's private, man. That is a 100% a private situation, that when he felt it was comfortable, that he felt it was time, to me, when he said it after the Wichita State game in the AC tournament, when they lost that game, and you could tell at the end of the post-game press conference that Penny was an emotionally tired individual, and he needed a break. And I think everybody understood that. And in the moment of being frustrated that they lost to Wichita State, yes, that's frustrating. But man, like heartbroken for the fact that he's having to deal with his mother's health. But none of us knew. And again, like I said, I don't think anybody is not we didn't need to know. Like that's not something that we have a right as journalists or media guys to understand.
Right.
But again, I do think that there is, like, I wish that we could cover more stuff about the good things that happen in this, that Penny Hardaway does in the city. I think we cover a lot of really good things about what he does as a basketball coach. Like there's a lot of really good things that he does as a basketball coach. There are self-induced things that happen that have happened year after year after year that I think we critique. And if that is not something that we are able to do in a fair and right way, then I think that it is.
Stop telling us about it.
It hampers. Stop telling us about it, right? Like, don't tell us that you got locker room issues, that you can't play teams.
Talk about the locker room issues.
That you can't play guys together, and then get pissed when we talk about it. That is not the way this works. And again, it is very difficult for me as somebody who grew up watching Penny play, and like I said, I told you off air, man, I almost got my life taken from me for a Penny Hardaway hat when he went to the Orlando Magic. It was a limited edition Orlando Magic hat, and I got it was bad.
Yeah.
I had to, anyway.
Yeah.
I just think that it is a very difficult thing. I think the hard part, and if I can speak frankly, it is hard to do our jobs well, to talk about the team, to talk about the program, and be automatically accused of being like looking at, like, if this was a white coach, we wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
If this was, but the fact that Penny Hardaway is a black man, he's Penny
Hardaway. Yeah.
It's just because he's Penny Hardaway, right? Yeah. But is he uncritiquable because of who he is?
Yeah.
I don't think there's anybody that's like that. I don't think anybody can say they're uncritiquable because of what they've done in the city or who they are or what color of skin they have. That's just
I'm with you. You look at guys like Part, right? Part who wrote the story.
Right.
A lot of this seems like is in response to Part's story.
It's in response to the Joe Cooper story.
You read the Joe Cooper story by Part, right? And it's like you look at a guy like Part who not from Memphis, has no ties to Memphis. As soon as he gets a job that gets him up out of Memphis, he is up out of Memphis, right? And we look at it like, okay, well, this is just some kid trying to get a clickbait story or whatever. Or I hate to use the word clickbait, trying to get a story that brings him notoriety or whatever, right? And then, but people look at it like, okay, well, this kid doesn't get it. You're making Penny look bad in this whole thing. You're taking a shot at a native son. And I totally understand it. Like, that's the way I took it. Like, damn, Park, like, I know you trying to do your thing, bro, but I'll be interviewing walk-ons, bro. You know what I mean? So I get that whole thing. But I think Park also has the right to do his thing or whatever. I thought the article was in poor taste, honestly. People might disagree with me, but I can totally understand why people can look at that as a slight or an attack at Penny. Do I think Park looked at it that way? Probably not. But I think he did think, okay, an article like this will be engaging. This will get, some eyes on me. This will get some eyes on, my publication. All those type of things probably definitely, came through his line of thinking. Yep. But like I said, it's extremely hard to cover Penny, man, because like I said, even as a black man, like when I see certain things, like I know I always go back to 2021. The 2021 season when we had the games that we were suspended because of games we had to forfeit because of COVID testing, right? I was like, bro, it is totally inexcusable that Penny Hardaway is the CEO of this organization and did not have tight reins on his guys as far as the COVID vaccine, right? And then the whole thing of trying to start that kid
Imani Bates
at point guard, right? Crazy, you know what I mean? And I thought that was it caused a huge divide with the team, all those type of things, guys that leave and come back, suspended and come back, and Imani Bates is playing in the first round in NCAA. All these things are just wild, right? You know what I mean? So,
but those are coachable decisions. The Imani Bates thing. How many coaches have tried to fit a certain style of player into a certain style? Like you look at the way that I'll just go behind the scenes. I did a recruitment video for Imani during that time period, and we did a comp of a player for him. Do you know who his comp was?
Penny
Hardaway,
right?
Because Penny saw himself in Imani Bates.
But the thing, oh, good. I'm sorry.
No, I think those are critiquable. Those things can be critiqued now, and they were critiqued then, but that's not personal. That's not an attack on Penny to say it was a mistake to try to shoehorn Imani Bates into that situation because the kid was 17, not strong enough, not athletic enough to fulfill that role. He wasn't Penny Hardaway.
Right.
He didn't have that skill set.
But
that's not a personal thing.
Let me give you an example. One of my favorite people in Grizzlies media is Keith Parrish, right?
Awesome.
Right. Keith Parrish, for basketball reasons, didn't like Grayson Allen, right? So
I didn't like Grayson Allen.
Right. But he would drag Grayson Allen without end. I wouldn't use myself in this, but it's too easy to poke fun at myself, right? Keith Parrish would take shots at Grayson Allen all the time. And when we finally traded Grayson Allen, Keith Parrish made a hilariously funny video of him running out of his house. Now, how he recorded himself while running and then bust his ass, I still don't know. But he recorded a video of himself running and celebrating that we finally traded Grayson Allen.
Right.
That's not reporting. That's not journalism. That's not sticking to basketball. That was his personal opinion on Grayson Allen, which you'll see people all the time who will say, I don't pull for Derrick Rose because he has, accusations of sexual assault. And and I'm sure that some of the stuff with the off the court stuff with Grayson Allen led to Keith Parrish feeling that way, right? But like I said, he was sticking to basketball, but he wasn't sticking to basketball. And I think a lot of times with Penny, you can kind of tell when there's situations where, you're talking about basketball, but saying that if he doesn't make the NCAA tournament this year, he needs to step down. That's complete bullshit, bro. Like, step down for what? Like, step down to hire who? Like, what are you talking about, bro? And like that type of stuff to me, even though you're talking basketball, even though you're critiquing him as a coach, saying things like he needs to be fired if he doesn't make the tournament. That if somebody said, man, that dude's like he got a personal problem with him, I can understand why somebody would feel that way.
Like so we have multiple shows on Bluff City Media's airwaves that have spent the better part of this offseason talking about Taylor Jenkins.
Right.
As the head coach of the Memphis Grizzlies. And I mean, you had an interview yourself with Brevin Knight.
Look like shit this year. Fire Taylor Jenkins. Yeah.
So is that personal or is that media, journalistic?
I'm glad you said that. An edge of that is personal. I personally would like to see his ass up out of there.
Okay.
And that's not reporting. That's my personal opinion based on the team that I'm a fan of.
So then
but like I said, listen what I just said though. That's personal though.
Okay.
Yeah, we talking sports, and I'm basing it on what he does as a coach or whatever. But it's an unbiased opinion. It has a clear bias in it. I don't want that person to have that job. I'd rather somebody else have that job. So I'm spinning this in a way where you're going to hear me say, you're never going to hear me say, but now you hear me coming around on Taylor Jenkins because I know that my platform has power to it. I know that if I get to saying it, a bunch of other people are gonna get to say it.
The narrative has been cast. Basically.
Back when I was a blogger and doing things with 3 Shades of Blue and just doing stuff on Twitter, the Grizzlies would pull me to the side about stuff I was saying because he's like, bro, you create narratives and you create narratives that can that get back to the players. You know what I mean? In a good and a bad way. So like I said, I personally, when we had Josh, God damn it, the kid from Kansas, Josh somebody that we got, he was playing with John and them, but they ain't let him play. They sent him to the G League.
Josh Selby.
No.
From Kansas?
Yep, was blowing shotguns in his baby's face.
Jackson. Josh Jackson.
Right. I created the Free Josh Jackson hashtag, right? That narrative got back to Josh Jackson. I created that narrative because I wanted to see that kid get a chance.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But so that was personal to me. Even though I was keeping it basketball, it was personal to me, and I was letting my personal feelings get out. It's media, whether you're talking about sports or you're not talking about sports, it can still be personal, bro. You understand what I'm saying?
I agree.
You know what I mean? It's just like
Yeah.
if I say, prime example, the Michael Cole is one of the people in the running to replace Mar Giannotto at 92.9, right?
Do we need to cut this out?
No.
People know,
That's
right?
what they doing. That's what this whole Giannotto,
Okay.
Friends of Jeffrey thing is. Like, right? These are people that are in the running to replace him, right?
Got you.
If you ask my opinion on that thing, on that job, I'm gonna spin that bitch to where DeMichael look like the nigga needs to get the job. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
because that's my personal.
Because that's your guy. That's your guy.
I can send him a typo. You know, I think DeMichael is great. I think so and so isn't good at this. I don't think so and so can do this. But I have a personal narrative I'm trying to push because DeMichael is my guy. You understand what I'm saying? Like, it's
totally agree.
All the whole thing of what, you know, we just can he not be critiqued? Yeah, we critique you. But when it started getting into your own personal opinion, that's when them conversations about the media feeling like we the biggest person in the room, bro, and we not. You understand what I'm saying?
I
like
feel you.
When it started getting into that type of stuff, that's the part to be bothering me. Like I
said,
I
think there are lines that are crossed in that way sometimes.
I think they crossed a lot with Penny, bro.
And maybe I need to pay more attention to what things are being said outside of what we do at Bluff City Media. But to me, it feels like the majority of the things that I see are more critique about what's going on the court, because that's all we really know. Like, none of us are in the locker room. None of us are at practice. We have availability with Penny once a week. We get, very specific questions, and we ask very specific questions and get very, kind of canned answers a lot of times.
Yeah.
But again, I will go back to saying, when we are asking a question and it comes out that, hey man, like, locker room issues, this, that, and the third, like, how are we not supposed to talk about that? And it's like, and when does that cross the line from talking about what, like, reporting on the things that Penny Hardaway says without becoming looked at as being viewed as personal? I'm not a big fan of like critiquing other media members' work and what they do.
Right.
But I will say, like, I just think that it's a tough position to be in, because how are you supposed to cover this team and try to help fans understand what's going on when, like, in a lot of ways, the media is the conduit between the team and themselves, right? Like, because we do have access to Penny that they don't have. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, we do have access to Penny. Right. So,
but check this out. Go ahead, my bad.
No, you're good. Go ahead.
Check this out though. Like, prime example. We were talking about, like, you talk about like the Jeff Calkins situation where Jeff came to Penny like, do you think you can handle the job? And Penny snapped on him, right? Penny snapped. Right. So that moment got Penny fired up. Yeah. It got the fan base fired up. But it also
the locker room up, bro.
Right. It also had people turn into Jeff's show the next day. Every time Penny does anything, the anniversary of that rant, Jeff talked about it.
We're celebrating it now.
Maybe I need to, if they start losing, maybe I need to do this. And and like I said, Jeff playing like that, or Jeff doing whatever he's doing, it had a benefit to Jeff, and Jeff pulls that out of his back pocket to benefit Jeff, to get people stirred up, to create conversation, to create engagement, those type of things. But Penny might be like, because like if you cut on 92.9, they use that sound bite. Don't do that, or like, the whole other thing with
the Jason Williams. Yeah.
Right. No. Penny saying don't do that.
Oh, they use that. They use that audio.
Yeah. Or they might use, stop effing playing with me, all that type of stuff, right?
Right.
That's personal. That's something they're doing to benefit them. That's not covering the sport or giving a unbiased opinion of what they're talking about. They're using those things benefited all parties involved. You understand what I'm saying? Like, Jeff can pull out the fact that I said this to Penny and he went off. And just like Jeff pulls out the Jason Williams, I'm good. All that. Like, it's almost like he wearing it like a badge of honor, bro. You know what I'm saying? So I can understand why somebody Penny might feel away like, damn, bro, like, you really triggered me that day, and you really got me in my worst, and I really went off, and now you done made me into a damn soundbite when your show come on. You know what I'm saying? Like,
but isn't that kind of part of being isn't that kind of part of being a public figure?
Right. But that's what I'm saying. I'm just saying that's an example of how it could be personal, because you're using that for your personal gain. That's going beyond you giving your opinion of something that happened. That's something where you're using that person's failure, that person getting out of character to benefit you. You understand what I'm saying? I'm just saying it ain't just gotta be personal. Like, oh, I gotta, Penny Hardaway has bad breath, or look at Penny Hardaway hairline. Like it ain't gotta be nothing like that, bro. It can be something strictly about sports, but you use it in a way either good or bad. This person, you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of holding media members to a standard.
I start messing up, man. Keep going. I'm gonna log out and come back in. Keep talking.
It's kind of weird to talk without you.
But just talk. I'll be
back. I think it's a situation where you're kind of holding media members to a standard that you're not holding anybody else to, right? Like we're all in this to, we do ask questions. We work our ass off to get information, to be able to share what we know. And when you do get a conversation like that with Penny, where you kind of see him, kind of spout off, like that was used. He used that in the locker room to galvanize the locker room that year. I just think, and while we wait for Anthony to come back, I just think we are, I think there's a level of people feeling like a need to protect Penny when there's no, I don't think there's real, like, I'll just say this. There is not a single media member in this entire city that covers Penny Hardaway, the University of Memphis, that does not wish that we could cover a team that was a winning team, a team that was going to national championships or going to Elite Eights, going to Sweet 16s, going to the tournament every single year. There is not a single media member that does not. It is much more fun, much more lucrative, much more to cover a team that's successful.
Yeah.
It is. There's not. And I've talked to every single one of them off the record that would say, man, it is much greater covering a team that's in the tournament than not. But I think that there is a level of feeling like a need to protect Penny when this media group of people that cover him protect him and want
like
him to succeed. That we want him to succeed more than anybody else. Like what the greatest story to be told would be the story of Penny Hardaway taking the University of Memphis basketball program to a Sweet 16, Elite Eight, Final Four.
Right.
Like, this is the greatest story you can possibly. As a journalist, you go, that is it.
That's a story that don't need no help. Yeah,
it doesn't need any help.
You
ain't gotta make up stuff to like whatever. But we also when things are going negatively cannot say, hey man, because he might take them to the Final Four one day, we can't talk about this. Like that's not realistic. Right.
And see, another thing too you got to keep in mind, man, is that you have the media landscape has changed so much, right? You got people like me who didn't go to school for this, guys like Marcus, who I'm assuming he didn't go to school for this. Tons of guys who don't do this, and we're in the same platform, in the same arena, same stages as guys like Parks, guys like Jeff Calkins, these type of guys.
Right.
And I just think it can cause these types of misunderstandings or just people speaking different languages.
Oh,
you know what I mean? Like all the time.
I don't feel the need. You will never hear me protect Parth or protect Jason Munns or anybody that's gone to school for that. Because guess what? You ask them, you get the true serum in them. You ask them about Bluff City Media and how we cover the Memphis basketball program. They'll think we're They think we're jokes.
Yeah.
Like, in all honesty, they think we're entirely unprofessional.
Yeah.
Entirely.
For sure.
And so it is what it is, man. Like, I'm not here to protect Parth. I like Parth. I think Parth's a good guy, but it's not my job to protect him. He's a grown-ass man.
Yeah, and if he was my guy, I would have pulled him out to the side, like, they finna get on your ass. You know what I mean? Like, for real. Like, he might not have known this shit. But like I said, it's an interesting conversation, man. Like I said, I believe that the future of University of Memphis, the best path to get the result that we want is that a Penny figure this shit out. You know what I mean? A lot of stuff
100%.
that we shake our head about, that we're frustrated about with Penny. I'm on board with saying I think Penny's the guy that can get it done. I don't want to see some other coach come in. I think Penny's the one that can do it. And like I said, that's why a lot of the narratives just kind of annoy me about, what our expectation level should be, and what Penny should be doing, and one tournament win in 6 years, and all those type of things. All right, brother, go get what you want, then, man. And like that's the whole thing with me. Like I said, I enjoyed Marcus's interview with Penny. I enjoyed having him on today.
He's good.
He's good.
I
He's
like
very
Marcus.
good at what he does. Like I said, any brother that's out here on the independent grind, I'm personally going to be biased about my opinion on it because he's an indie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it just kind of is what it is. And he's a brother. So I'm definitely going to give my personal opinion on that outside of, a non-biased opinion.
How dare you be so biased, Anthony?
Yeah, exactly. Because he's black. But no, I think this is a good episode, man. I think this is needed. Two people like me and you who are friends, who do this with love and passion, everything we do, who are passionate about the city, passionate about the University of Memphis, man. I know people think for some reason I'm just this person who trolls Tiger
fans,
fans.
bro.
I'm a hater. One dude told me that I am hating on the city of Memphis and the school. I said, bro, I'll take that school part because I truly don't really give a damn that tough. But saying I'm hating on Memphis, go to bro. I almost. Hey, they had that meme about things that white people say that really slap, right?
That hurt. That one hurt.
I'm about to hit him with the. Look at the nerve on this. Look at the nerve of this guy. It's like, I'm about to hit him with that one.
And I would say to all my fellow Memphians, just because somebody has not grown up in this city their entire life, and has gone to school at the University of Memphis and has graduated, whatever, it's paid their time, just because they're here and they're doing a job here, let's not automatically assume that they have evil intentions about how they're doing their job.
You're gonna take me away. Y'all gotta pray for me on them. I gotta
right? Like that's what I would say. That's what I would say to this. The same level of grace that we show Memphians about how Memphians talk about Memphis. Let's give that same grace to other people that have implanted into this city, man, because they're a part of it too.
I might.
Let's try. Let's just make an effort. 2024, we're almost halfway through. Let's make an effort to be a little bit more gracious in how we handle or how we think about people that maybe aren't from here. Some of these people are here. Like, perfect example, Jessica Benson.
Yep.
Like, there is not a single person in this city outside of maybe Marcus and the guys over at the radio station that would say that Jessica Benson does not ride and die for the city. But she ain't from here.
No.
But she's from here.
She loves this city.
Let's allow people that come into this city and work in this city and cover the teams of this city to have to give them the same level of grace and say, man, they're here. Maybe they're here for the good too. Maybe they're not here for just the bad, just to leech off the city and then leave. Maybe that's not what they're here to do. Maybe they're here to.
Them out there too. Now the rest for them, they can go to hell. But anyway. But yeah, man, I appreciate my boy Marcus Taylor coming on today. Ken, I appreciate you hopping on with me, man. Just good conversation, man. And I hope that people it edified the body, man.
Edified the body. Yes, sir.
Well, man, we'll see y'all.
I've never heard so many Bible verses being talked about in an interview. And me go, mother.
Hey, man, why the word of God bother you so much?
Man, compare Penny to Jesus, bro.
Several times.
Who do you say that I am?
No,
I know what Marcus is doing. I'm just messing around.
Good stuff. I just compared to Batman, man. That's all I had.
Yeah, you had Batman.
Batman, Jesus. I mean,
Marcus and Jesus. You know what I mean? Hey, man, but listen, we got another show coming tomorrow coming Wednesday. It'll be here, but we just wanted to throw this one out there to y'all just as a little buffer for that. But man, thank you to Marcus for coming on.
For sure. For Marcus Taylor, appreciate you, brother. Check out TaylorMade Sports on 88.5. I forgot to get the time and date, but check him out. Go check out the podcast. The interview he did with Penny Hardaway, man. The podcast interview they did with Penny Hardaway. And like I said, another episode of the Anthony Sain Show will come out Wednesday at 12. We want to get this out as soon as possible. But we don't know when this might drop. But
this is on Monday. It's Monday at 4:30.
Oh yeah, so it'll be out Tuesday.
We're putting it out on Monday night. I'm going to put it out Monday night.
So you'll see it Monday night, Tuesday, all that time before Anthony Sain Show. Well, we'll see you guys Wednesday, and we out.
Thank you for listening to the Anthony Sain Show.
If you enjoyed this episode, leave a rating and a review wherever you download your podcasts. Also, like and subscribe to Bluff City Media's YouTube page. For comprehensive coverage of Memphis sports, head over to www.bluffcitymedia.co and find out how you can become an insider. We will see you back here next week.